Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Next Level Leap podcast. I am here with Debra Boulanger, and she is in our Advanced Women's Expert Network community. She and I connected, had lots in common. And you, Deb, are an expert on helping people, particularly women, have what you call life after corporate, which is what your podcast is called. And it's a really timely topic right now because a lot of people are thinking about what life could be after their corporate role.
Absolutely. Thank you, Laura. It's a pleasure to be here. So many successful women leaders and executives either are getting to a point in their career where they're thinking about, well, is this all there is? Here I am, I'm a senior vice president, or I'm in the C-suite. I've already had my career, but I'm passionate about doing something else, of helping companies get more diversity, equity, and inclusion in their senior level ranks, or helping women lawyers succeed. There's so many huge opportunities out there to give back and help others. And I see a lot of women leaders at that level deciding to make the leap. And then, of course, with the whole pandemic and the shifting change of the face of work, those women who also got a taste of having a bit more balance, or maybe not balance is the right word, but integration in their lives, with being with their families, being able to have more flexibility with their time, are not wanting to go back to the strict structures of the corporate world. So they're taking their expertise, they're packaging it as service offerings. And when they first get started, they have an idea for a business, but they don't yet have the business model to go out there and succeed and start getting clients.
It's so fascinating because I've watched many of my own clients who are multi-million-dollar business owners and have opportunities for women who are leaving corporate, whether it's in real estate investment or they're leaving the traditional workforce to get into being a private practitioner as a service provider. So they're starting to really explore, what does this mean to package up my expertise and sell it in a very different way? And so millions of women left the workforce last year.
Millions.
Millions, right? You probably know the statistic more than I do. And then I read just last night, I was reading the news where 1 in 5 women are thinking of leaving their positions in the next year. So it's like above and beyond the millions who are like, I'm out, right? Who've already made that decision. And there's still millions of women who are thinking about it. And a lot of my personal friends, my mom friends, would be in that category. Why do you think it's so hard for people to make that shift, no matter how badly they want it?
It's because, and I'll use me as an example, because I was an executive in the corporate world. I had done product development in the services space. So it was literally my job to uncover new market opportunities, to create new solutions by packaging our service offerings and selling them to new buyers. And so you would think that I had launch skills. It was literally my job. Product marketing was part of my job. Sales was part of my career when I first got started. But when you're applying it to yourself, and not every executive who leaves corporate has those product development, those product marketing or sales skills, it's almost like a solution in search of a problem. Like, I have these skills, I see this problem I want to solve, but they don't know how to bridge the gap. Well, how do I get clients? And how do I become known? And how do I use social media? How do I do marketing? And all the other things, like the technical infrastructure of my business. Financially, how do I take orders? I was just on with some clients in my launch lab, which is the very first place they get started. So really smart, accomplished women leaders, but it's like, how do I take orders? Oh, I finally got my finance guy to set up QuickBooks, and now I can track my inventory and take orders. I feel official.
Yes. Yeah. And that's so funny. Why do you think it's so hard for women to apply these incredibly sophisticated skills that they've developed on themselves? Right. What is the mental hurdle do you think that they experience?
Well, a lot of it is, I think wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah.
So if you had imposter syndrome in the corporate world, it only gets amplified when you start thinking, well, who am I to XYZ? Who am I to think I can solve this problem? And also, they don't have the business skills. They weren't trained as CEOs of a startup. And that's what we are. And that's how we have to think about our life and our new work here. And you do that, Laura. I mean, it's part of what the advance is all about, is how do we treat it like a business, love it like a hobby, but um, treat it as a business and really get the business skills that we don't have so that we can be successful in making the impact that we want to make and fulfilling the mission that we see we want to fulfill.
Yeah, I love that. And how have you seen, since the Great Recession has taken place, the Great Resignation, not the Great Recession? Hopefully that's not coming.
Hopefully that's not going to happen.
Hopefully that was not some kind of foreshadowing slip. But the Great Resignation, how do you see that impacting business leaders, like entrepreneurs who are established and they're thinking about, like, from a staffing standpoint, or they're thinking about what is the business opportunity here? What are some of the things that leaders should be thinking about?
Yeah, so there might be more established companies that are doing things like sales training or CRM systems, helping people understand the value of technology in managing customers, managing orders. Um, Advisory services from financial professionals. So whether you're on the financial advisor side and you want to help people plan for their retirement, there has been a big shift now in employment. So how does that impact the future financial planning? But there's also an opportunity to help people set up how to manage their P&L, how to manage their orders, how to get paid, how to set up payroll. So there are all these new opportunities for larger companies to package lower end service offerings to sell to this market.
Mm,
And so I see it as a huge market opportunity for people who are in the space of helping people understand marketing, sales skills, and building a financial and technical infrastructure for success. And legal
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, legal is big. And it's, even as a small business owner, as a startup, it's one of the first things that we need to be thinking about in order to set ourselves up for success. So when we're thinking about, okay, so millions of women will leave the workforce, really smart women, brilliant women who are saying, actually working 60 hours a week is not going to work for me because my values have shifted, right? Like, I'm either caring for aging parents or I'm caring for young children, or like, it's just whatever this costs me, it's no longer worth it. I have a couple of friends in mind that I can really tap into when I'm thinking about who this person is. And when you experience these people who are sort of teetering on corporate and then they finally make the decision to leave, what are some of the things that they're experiencing, do you see?
Well, there's two things that they experience, on the positive side, it's this sense of empowerment and freedom that I get to make the choices. There is this sort of like pinch me kind of feeling, like I'm
Mhm.
so grateful that I get to wake up and create something every day. And I work with women entrepreneurs specifically, and I truly believe that entrepreneurship is the new feminist movement. It really gives you the agency and control to work as much as you want to work at things that actually give you joy. And so I work with women who are both reinventing their businesses as well as launching for the very first time. And then the other side, after that feeling of empowerment passes, is the realization like, oh no, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know what to do first. I'm not sure that I'm using the right words and, I'm marketing my services in the right way. I'm not sure anyone wants to buy what I'm selling. And so that level of insecurity and just not knowing is where I come in and saying, well, we can find this out. And we can just survey the marketplace. We can have interviews and conversations with people who would be ideal clients and will create your product. It's not something that someone else does. And I think that's the danger. So there's so many cookie cutter programs out there of like, oh, do this the way I did, and you'll have the same results, which is fake progress, because it feels like you're making progress, feels like you're launching something, but you're launching something that you have no proof that people actually want to buy. So I'm a huge fan of test before you invest, make sure there's demand before you build supply,
Mm.
and that you are filling in a gap in the marketplace that enables you to stand out.
Yeah, a lot of things you don't have to think about when you're in corporate. You're trading a lot of the navigating. I was only in corporate for, I'm in my mid 40s, so I've been working for a long time, but I only spent about 2 years not being an entrepreneur in corporate. And it was just the navigating of the politics and all of that. You're sort of trading those dynamics that you probably become somewhat immune to after a while. You just get used to it, right? For this idea of understanding that discomfort's part of the process. And I
Yeah,
think when you've been an entrepreneur for a while, you're like, oh, like I don't like this, but that's normal. Like, I don't
exactly.
enjoy this. I don't like it when employees turn over. Like, it makes you want to, just check out for the day. But that's normal. This happens, right? And they're experiencing a lot of those things for the first time from a very different perspective, right?
Yeah, they're experiencing that. And you no longer have the security blanket of a regular paycheck or paid time off. The only thing I miss from corporate is paid time off. I'm working on my business model, so I get paid time off every August, so I can take off the entire month and revenue is still rolling in. But I think that's the biggest, and that goals are set for you, because even though you're a senior executive and you're passing down the goals to your team, the goals and the vision are set by the C-suite. So you don't have to come up with the strategy. So I think strategic thinking, where am I going? What's the vision? How do I put a plan in place to actually reach that? And you're not tied to KPIs that someone else has created. You're creating the success metrics yourself. And I think many women leaders, when they leave, they don't understand how they're going to measure their own success beyond the fact that they want to replace that corporate paycheck.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's such a good point. And I love that you're sharing this. It's because what you do is that you help women really package up their expertise in a way that's uniquely crafted for them. But this could apply to anybody. Let's say you're selling a real estate investment opportunity and somebody comes from corporate, right? All of a sudden they have to set that pace. They need to set their own goals. They need to decide how many deals they're going to do this year. And like you said, for a lot of them, the benchmark is just replacing my corporate salary. But that in itself typically isn't a strong enough why, right? Like just doing the minimum to get to where I was before isn't necessarily going to get you through the hardest parts of entrepreneurship, right?
No, and you don't get to keep 100% of
Right.
the revenue that you bring in the door. So you may be making or generating 400, $500,000 a year or more, but you're not keeping all of that. So to replace that paycheck really means that you need to think bigger and start thinking about building a 7 or 8 figure business in order to take home that same corporate salary that you had. And sometimes that's appealing and sometimes it's not. There are some women who are in their late 50s or 60s and they want to build a lifestyle business. And so they want a very simple business model that maybe they can run with a skeleton virtual team. So there's no one right way to reinvent your career as an entrepreneur. It's all a matter of your values, what's important to you, how you want to live your life, how you want to fund your life,
Yeah.
and how you want to make an impact with your work. And I think many women right now would love to give back more. I frequently say nothing bad happens when women make more money.
Yes.
They tend to invest it in causes that they care about it. They put it to good use. We need to empower more women to be more successful financially.
Yes, there's a lot of upside to women making money. They tend to contribute to their communities. They tend to care for others, right? There's a lot of benefit there. They tend to hire well, make good decisions, rely on their intuition. I love that you're sharing that. So, as we're wrapping up this interview, is there any final words of wisdom that you want to share around the idea of people leaving corporate, whether it's somebody who might be listening, they're thinking of leaving, or a business leader who's trying to navigate what this wave of women leaving the corporate
Mhm.
world means for their business? Is there anything in particular that comes to mind?
Is that I think that the most important thing is that when women leave to start something new, they're so focused on the new thing that they forget the lifetime of experience, all of the skills that they brought with them up until this point in time. And so they might chase a new credential to feel more confident going after what they're going after. But you are enough, you know enough, there is value you can contribute to some community of people around the world. And so that's for the women themselves. For the companies that serve this market, is understand that there's an educational component that needs to happen in order for you to reach this market. They need to understand at a very basic level how to get started with your services. From a legal perspective, it's, how to register your entity. Do you need disability insurance? Do you need other types of insurance? Do you need to trademark your brands and your products? Same thing from the sales perspective and from the technology perspective. And I think there's an opportunity for more companies, larger companies who typically sell to larger businesses, to tap into the revenue potential in this marketplace by creating educational products, or maybe slimming down some of the products that you do have to make them accessible to, let's call them, micro business owners.
Yes. Yeah. And I love what you just shared. And then I think also additionally, reminding them of what it is that they're capable of reminding these women what it is that they've done that they're capable of. Because as you had mentioned, for the people leaving corporate, a lot of times they forget. And for leaders who have maybe made that leap beforehand, like maybe 10, 15 years ago, or are lifelong entrepreneurs, sometimes we forget that those women need to be encouraged and reminded of what it is that they've accomplished up until this point and how capable they are. So I love that you shared that. So if people want to get more in touch with you, and I know you have a great podcast, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Yeah, so the Life After Corporate podcast is a great place to start, and reach out to me on LinkedIn. It's Deb Boulanger. I think I'm the only Deb Boulanger on on LinkedIn. So you can find me there. The company is thegreatdoover.com, and there's lots of resources there as well.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Deb, for being here. We'll put those links in the show notes, and we really appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much, Laura. Such a fun time being with you.